Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back. Here we are today, hanging out in the garden. We're on day 14 of flower, so 14 days past the flip of the lights to the 12-12 cycle. And the progress is looking really good, especially for how this run started out. We were definitely a little nervous on how the plants were going to come up through the trellis. They were over-vegged, oversized for the area. But I think it's coming out pretty well. Hard for you guys to totally see, but really coming out to be a packed canopy in the main 4x4, 5.5x4 really. And in addition, the outer plants, the coffee cake, and man, that watermelon Skittles looking to be really impressive. And over this last week, the plants have done just what the plants should be doing here in their second week of flower. And they've hit the gas on bud setting. So first week was kind of like, hey, what's going on? We should really get in gear in case something happens. Second week is like, oh, I know what's going on. It's flower time. Let's go, girls. And they start setting their buds, and that's exactly where we are. Overall, see most strains really setting their crowns, setting their bud sites, their nodes very well. So that's the Geranimals 22, the Fox Lotto, also known as Faux Lotto. We'll talk about that in a second. Don't worry, guys. I do know what it is called. But these girls, all of these, set their buds very nice. Watermelon Skittles, fully set up, very nice. The coffee cake, probably second to last in bud development, followed by the Geranimals 66, which, I was just over at Justin Joint's facility. Here, I'll pop up like a picture or two here. And oh my god, best run I've ever seen him do. I know it's not like he can't do that all the time, but the lava cake in there and the Geranimals 66, or excuse me, the Geranimals 22. The 66 is no good. 22, boys and girls, is, oh my god, he just knocked it out of the park. My newest post on Instagram is that one. I'm going to submit one of them to Dope Magazine. Just, oh my god, fantastic. So I am more than stoked for this, and I'm also glad to find out that he likes the 22, the bigger, nicer one, because it's a better plant, and he says the quality is better. But of course we have the 66 here to find out, but the 66, to get back on track here, well behind the rest of the girls in any kind of flower showing, and just an awkward grower, but really coming into her own, doing well, considering she started off kind of like Mendo breathy. You can kind of see here this like curled leaf, a little just not so good, but coming in with some nice new growth. So we'll let her progress, and she's kind of small and out of the way, but the 22, boys and girls, that is what we are excited for. The vigor, let's move along here to the vigor and just the oomphness of the Fox Lotto, as I call it. But I want you guys to know, and I've said this in the first update, but I did not clarify it in the second name. The actual name is Faux Lotto, as in fake gelato. And that's because gelato, I believe, is Sunset Sherbet crossed with Thin Mints. And this, the reason it's fake, is because it is the Stardust cut of Sunset Sherbet, or the Stardust Sherbet as it's known. And if you guys go back and watch my run of Sherbet here on the channel, it's one of the re-uploads from the old one. It's from like 2015 or 14 or something. It's old, but it was a solid run. Anyway, that was the Stardust Sherbet cut, and it was a fantastic cut. Stardust is a well-known grower up north, gets great cuts. I've met him a couple times. Anyway, he got it in a pack in cuts that were supposed to be sherbet. It turned out to not be sherbet. He knew it was sherbet, verified from the cookie family like other cuts were. Anyway, no one knew what it was, but it was dank, and it was from the cookie family, and it's a fantastic cut. So anyway, it's known as the Stardust Sherbet cut, and sherbet, I believe, is spelled a little different. Anyway, that's where this comes from, and that's why it's called faux or fake gelato. And I know that, but on the tag with the X, we just called it the Fox. That's what we kind of called it in the stable, and throughout the, just between the guys, we call it the Fox. But if we're talking to anyone online or anything like that, of course we call it the Faux Lotto, the fake gelato. But when I'm with you guys, I kind of just think you're in my own mind sometimes, so I apologize for calling it the Fox Lotto. It pissed a couple people off, and some people were just, not really pissed them off, but they just brought it up. But anyway, I kind of think you guys are in my own mind and understand exactly what I'm saying all the time on some of those. So anyway, the Faux Lotto, I will try to call it the correct name from now on. The Faux Lotto, the fox that she is just beautiful. And let me throw up one more. This is a picture from Justin's the other night of this. Oh, the purples, the darkness, and you can see it already in the vegetative how dark this is going to be and hold up compared to some of the other strains in the grow. So the Fox Lotto, the Faux Lotto, is just really excited for it. The one thing is he's ran it multiple times now, and both times it foxtails out a little bit, has a little kind of like sativa, doesn't want to finish up kind of tendencies to it. Looks really pretty, but it just, the hairs don't want to recede in and do its final kind of oomph. So we'll see how that goes. 660 in the new lights will help that out a little bit, but overall we'll see it progress. But the leaves are beautiful, and for how dark they are, she actually still wants a little more magnesium than the rest of the strains in the garden, so it's interesting. Follow her along and looking really good. So she's most of the canopy, honestly. Got 2 plants of her and takes up probably 4 by 3 this way, and then another 3 by 2 in the back. It's a good part of that canopy, and then the geranimals 22 takes up the last of it. But as we move over to these side plants that aren't in the trellis section, that just kind of got their own tomato cages, doing really, really well. I was surprised because these cuts were only 5 days behind when I actually got them, but the conditions of them just weren't very good. So it took them a long time to get caught up, and then these girls spent 2 extra weeks in these 5 gallons, while these were in 1 gallons, basically till they were flowered here. So got held back, but man, have they shot up, especially that watermelon Skittles. And this was, someone asked me if this is from Lit Farms. It's not from Lit Farms. It's from my buddy, Miss Jackson on Instagram. Go give him a follow. Does some fantastic stuff, but it was actually a collab between Dying Breed and I forget who else. I'll try to throw it up here. But that's where it came from. It's one of their, came out of the beans. But oh my god, has she just exploded stretch wise, but is going to fill in, has put nugs everywhere, and not just stretch but branches, not just stretching vertically but totally filling out in volume. So really, really impressed and excited for this one. We were talking about, because Justin really hasn't ran this one too much either, so bouncing back and forth and kind of, talking how it's going to be. The coffee cake, nothing but love on IG and the world for it. So a lot of good stuff coming out of it. I'm excited to see it. It's just a beautiful plant. It has this little bit of a leaf curl, which I would attest or kind of attribute here. Kind of see it just on the serrations, just ever want to. And she's had it the whole time I've had her in veg. Miss Jackson, when she runs it, does the same thing. It seems to be a trait of this cut. And I would probably attribute it to the humidity, high humidity, but all the other strains are doing fantastic in here, and my room conditions are my room conditions. So if this plant doesn't like high humidity, jungle-like conditions, my grow rooms aren't gonna be that prime for it. So with that said, I have the whole room controlled on Trollmaster. Have my sensors out there, out in the open, getting fresh air, and every light hooked up to the dimmer, and a final switch. But you can see my conditions that I'm showing here. There we are. 80 degrees, 76.5% humidity, around 600 and change on the CO2 ppm, and that is why these plants are exploding with growth. And some of you guys may say, wow, that is high. It's a little hot. It usually gets up to about 83, 85 in here sometimes, so I like it there better. But yeah, it's hot, but wow, that humidity is a little bit high. And it is, but it isn't. What we actually want is to follow the VPD chart, which is vapor pressure deficit. And it essentially, if we can keep it in the correct range there, we can maximize the potential for CO2 and air exchange from the stomas of the plant. And so how they breathe, how they bring in CO2 and let out oxygen and all that good stuff. So by writing that VPD, go ahead and look it up. It's pretty simple. We can maximize growth, and that's what I do, and it combines well with the fact that LEDs don't emit heat in the beam of light. There's a little heat right here, but overall they don't emit heat, so they're not actually heating up the plant surface like a sodium or a halide or some kind, even a fluorescent beam does. It's actually projecting heat out in the beam of light. LEDs, not so much, so that overall higher ambient, you guys have heard this from many people, many manufacturers, and it's just true. and that's why we run higher ambience. Anyway, pairs very, very well with running the VPD, because sometimes this might be a touch hot on the leaf surface temperatures in sodium range, but it does very well in LEDs. And next time, actually, I'll bring the laser temp in here and show you guys what they're at. If I had thought I was going to talk about that, I would have brought it in with me. Anyway, so it seems high, but the key to it is to hold it, to not let it go. I actually run almost a negative differential. I'm pretty much 80 degrees here during my nighttime temperatures, and my humidity stays the same. And the key to that is staying above 70 degrees Fahrenheit. You stay above 70 degrees Fahrenheit, mold spores cannot germinate. They cannot colonize or do their thing. It's just how it works. Now the thing is if it's 70 in the room, it might be below 70 in some pockets. So you need to kind of overshoot that to, the higher you are above that, the better you are. And if we're running 80 to 85 in flower, let's try to hit around 80, upper 70s to 80s in nighttime temperatures too. And that's how I combat mold and things while running these high jungle-like temperatures. But the plants thrive in it, guys. So it's kind of something you got to commit to. It's kind of like the leaf stripping thing that we're going to get into next week. Don't worry, we'll go all into defoliation, nice time lapse, the whole deal, because look how thick this canopy is. So that'll be fun. We'll get into that. But the plants love it. It's hard to do. It hurts the heart as a human grower. But we're not growing in here. These girls are, and that's what they like. So that's what we do. So anyway, the plants have been fed Jax 3-1 this whole time, just as they have been in veg. They have been fed in flower. If anything, I've maybe backed it down just a touch on the ppm for flower now that they seem very healthy, but as soon as I do that, the Fox Lotto says she wants a touch more mag. So nonetheless, we're doing just fine. So I think that about wraps it up for this week. It's been a great update. Got to talk about a lot. Stay tuned for next week. Like I said, it's going to be the defoliation strip video and should be fantastic. So thank you guys. Hit that like button. Subscribe if you're not. And I will see you guys next time. Peace. Green Jeans Garden.